What's going on, guys? Tyraku here. Today I have for you all a new Spider Stage 10 team. Well, new from me, that is. Somebody may already be using this. But yesterday's video, I had showed a team using Prince KYMAR, 2 enemy max HP damage dealers, Ghostborn, and then Elva. There's a few different substitutions you can use, but the most requested comment was no Prince KYMAR, okay? So some people don't have Prince KYMAR. Perfectly understandable. Here's your new option. Now, I've seen some people saying just use Renegade. See Prince KYMAR as Renegade. Unfortunately, you can't do that. You can see Prince KYMAR as YUMEKO in most situations, a lot of situations, like for this you could, but Renegade reduces the cooldown by 2, and the duration on Royal Guard as well as Husk is a 4-turn cooldown. So unfortunately, even after Renegade resets, it's still going to be 1 turn before Royal Guard or Husk can use their enemy max HP skill. Well, in comes Painkeeper. Painkeeper has an ability that decreases the cooldown of all ally skills by 1 turn. So she fixes that. No worries whatsoever. We have Lydia in this team, but you can use any decreased defense champion, decreased defense plus weaken. You can use Deacon Armstrong, lower speed requirements in the entire team. I mean, Deacon has, let me see real quick. He has a speed order that's pretty impressive. Where is Deacon? Is he a Sacred Order? I think. All right, here we go. Deacon, he has a 19% speed order in all battles. He also has a decreased enemy turn meter, which doesn't really matter, but he also has an increased turn meter of allies, plus an AoE decreased defense, which is very, very good. So if you want to use him, the speed requirements for your damage dealers, as well as everybody else, is going to be a lot lower, assuming he goes pretty early in the turn order. But the one caveat is your debuff champion kind of needs to go 3rd. So let me show you guys how this run works real quick, and then we'll go over all the gearing and everybody and the actual breakdown. So with this, you'll notice we have 2 buffs. We have the shield set on everybody, and we have an immunity set on Husk. Your slowest damage dealer needs to have that immunity set. If not, immunity, stone skin, untouchable, whatever it is, he needs the immunity buff because the big spider, whenever it eats all the little spiderlings, does the damage, it's gonna decrease your turn meter by 30%, thus putting your lowest turn meter damage dealer to sleep, which if he's asleep, it's not good. He's gonna miss his turn, not do enough damage, and the run's gonna be ruined. So here, basically you have 10% being done by both your enemy max HP damage dealers. So 10% from Royal Guard times 2, so 20% from him because he does 2 hits. And then Husk, same thing, 10% times 2, so 20%. And then the spiderlings, when you kill them, it's going to be 30% damage dealt to the big spider. So you have 30 plus 30 is 60. 60 plus 40 is 100%. So you don't have a ton of room for your damage dealers to not do the 10% max HP cap. So make sure they're geared well. If they're not geared well, it could be a little bit sketchy. But all in all, this team's going to be about 30 seconds consistent. It's going to be very, very consistent, probably like 98%. Lydia is going to have the issue of possibly missing the decreased defense and or weaken, which in those situations, if your damage dealers aren't geared high enough to actually kill the spiralings through that, then it's going to be risky. But if they can kill the spiralings through that, you can see right there we either missed one or one came back. Not a big deal. We're going to go ahead and keep moving through this. Not going to be an issue. Renegade does a reset. We have Painkeeper right there, do the cooldown reduction. Lydia does her decreased defense and weaken on the 3rd turn, on the 1st rotation of a spider. So like this very first turn, your debuffer can go 2nd, not a big deal. The 2nd champion to go is gonna have all 10 spiderlings on the map. However, on the turn after the big spider eats the little spiderlings, you need your debuff champion to go 3rd because the first turn, 4 drop, and then for the first champion's turn, 2 more drop. You can see it right here. We had a few spiderlings, 8 just now, so gotta be careful. But here we go, 2 dropped on the first turn, 2 dropped on the 2nd turn, and now 2 drops on Lydia's turn. So keep that in mind, very, very important. But then Painkeeper reduces cooldowns by 1, and we have 30 seconds back to back, even with some spiderlings being 8. Not a big deal whatsoever. So as far as the champions presets go, before we get into the actual gearing of these champions, we have Royal Guard, priority on the A2 ability. He is in the lead spot because that 35% increased attack does help his damage. Royal Guard is going to be the higher damage dealer of the Royal Guard or Husk enemy max HP champions. You can use Acrizia, though if you have Acrizia, you probably have KYMAR, and if you don't, just throw her in there, test her out. She has a lower cooldown, so she actually works fine with Renegade, but we're talking about Royal Guard and Husk. You can use any combination. You can use 2 Royal Guards, 2 Husks, Royal Guard plus Husk. It doesn't matter. Ideally, Royal Guard's going faster because he is likely going to do more damage. But Royal Guard's A2 priority, Renegade open with the A1, using the A3, she's the fastest. You could have Painkeeper potentially faster than Renegade. I just like Renegade being the fastest. Painkeeper is using A1 as the opener, A3 as priority, Lydia is prioritizing the A2, Husk is prioritizing the A2 as well. Now, as far as the champions builds go, let's start with the fastest, and that is Renegade. Nothing special here. We just have a speed set. All we need with all these champions is at least 245 speed. If the champion is going before Lydia's increased speed, they need at least 245, let's call it 246 speed, to go before the big spider. After that, you want to make sure the order allows for Lydia to go after Painkeeper and Renegade. Other than that, you should be good. So you don't need 270 speed. You don't need 250 speed. Maybe 250 is fine. You just need to be above 245. So that's the gear. Next champion to go is Painkeeper. Nothing special here. This is just a weird build from the clan boss. You really don't want her using the A2 because she can kill people. So it's just the A1 and the A3 ability. Masteries, nothing special. Doesn't even need the books. Renegade and Painkeeper, both of them, neither of them actually need the books whatsoever. Painkeeper, you could put in a bolster set or a shield set. It's going to help your team survive a little bit, especially if you switch to a champion like Deacon, a champion like War Maiden, a champion like Ghostborn. You're going to want more shield set, more bolster, because Lydia brings the strengthen, which is a big help in reducing the damage from that big spider. But if you don't have that, you're going to want as much shield as you can possibly get. Throw it on Renegade if you can. It's going to be great. Lydia is currently in my shield set. She also brings strengthen. My team's going to survive perfectly fine. She's 249 speed compared to Painkeeper's 254, so she's perfectly speed tuned. It's all looking good. The resistance, you may want to be careful because you technically can resist that decreased turn meter, I believe, from the spider. So ideally, your champions are not going to have much resistance whatsoever. I think one time I did get resisted, messed up the turn meter a little bit, the turn order, and that can be a problem, but just be mindful about that and you should be fine. So don't stack resistance on any of your champions. If you're going to place the debuffs, I think you need I think it's like 400 something. So push your accuracy to that 400, 415 mark, and you should be good. I'm pretty sure that's what it is for this stage of Spider. For Masteries, nothing super special. Pretty simple build. She's fast, good accuracy, good HP with a shield set, and you're going to be tanky. You're going to be survivable. You're going to be good to go. For Royal Guard, pump big damage into him. Just don't do so much you're one-shotting the spiders. If you one-shot the spiders or you kill any of the little spiderlings, 2 more are going to drop on the next turn. So be very careful. No relentless gear on anybody. Just make sure your champion's doing good damage, good speed. Technically going after Lydia, you're going to have a 30% speed boost. So you don't actually need to be 240 speed. You can probably be like 225. I'm not for sure exactly, but you can test that. If you use a champion like Deacon, then you can be even slower speed, but you're going to need to be a little bit more tanky. So keep that in mind, but focus on getting him in some defense ignoring set, whether it's Instinct, Savage, Cruel, Lethal, anything like that. Make him fast, get him in the gear. You're going to be good. So stack good attack. If he's survivable, it's going to be even better. You don't want him to die. Good speed, crit damage, don't need any accuracy. And then your last to go damage dealer. Both the damage dealers are going to be better in Crushing Rend. If you can't get it, not a huge deal, but Crushing Rend is going to be ideal. So as far as your last to go damage dealer, make sure you put them in either Stone Skin, Immunity, Untouchable, anything to prevent that sleep from being placed. Because if your turn meter gets decreased, which it will, then you're going to get the sleep placed. There's no way to resist that. You're going to get it placed. So for Husk, the main thing I'm worried about with him is having him the slowest. He's 234, but I think like 228, he can be built and be perfectly fine. 215% crit damage, enough to kill the little spiderlings, good HP, much easier to make him survivable. And then his base speed is actually 98, so it's very easy to make him do more damage with crit damage. And overall, he's a fairly easy champion to build, but he's not going to do as much damage as Royal Guard in most situations. So there was Husk. His A2, it's fully booked. Doesn't have to be, but it does give you some extra damage. So if you can get it fully booked, definitely go for it. But guys, this team, you got a ton of different options. If you want to go, like I said, if you want to go Deacon instead of Lydia, do it. If you want to go 2 Royal Guards, 2 Husks, 1 of each, a Crizia, there's a lot of different options. The main thing is Renegade plus Painkeeper allows you to bring in champions who have 4 turn cooldowns. Perfectly fine. You can bring in Ghostborn instead of Lydia. That's going to work perfectly fine as well. If you bring in Ghostborn, though, remember, you're going to have to bump everybody's speed up to a minimum of 245 because you're going to have no speed manipulation whatsoever. So you're going to have to make sure you're going faster than the enemy from the base, from the very beginning. Make sure you're faster and you're going to be good to go. So guys, hopefully you all enjoy this video. Hopefully that can help you out in your team building a little bit for Spider Stage 10. If you try Deacon instead, you're going to have to make your Royal Guard as well as your Husk hit harder because you only have a decreased defense. But it's definitely going to be possible if you want to go that route. With that said, thank you all very much for watching. Hope you all enjoyed, and I'll catch you all in the next video.